Okay, everyone, welcome back. This lesson on how to will be on inversions. So, inversions basically just means taking the notes of a chord and kind of rearranging them. Right? So, you use the same notes that are in your triad, but we're just going to play them in different octaves. Octaves means just like it's the same note, but you play it lower or higher. The reason we do this is because you don't really want really big jumps, especially in your chords. So if we look at our chord progression we did before, we have a C major going to this G major. So look how far away these notes are. Right? You can see the top note of our C major and the top note of our G major is really far away. So inversions just kind of shorten the gap in between our jumps. It's also much easier to play. If you're a piano player or guitar player, inversions make the changing between chords much easier and much smoother. It also, to the listener's ear, it's not too big of like a leap, we call it. So let's try to make these two chords not so big of a jump. So my first idea would be, what if I take the top note of our G major chord, I just click on it. What if I bring that down an octave, right? So it's still a D, but I want to bring it down to this D. So in MuseScore, to change any note an octave up or down, you click on it first, so make sure it's highlighted, and you're going to hold down Control and then use your either up or down arrows. So if I wanted to go up an octave, I would press Control up, or if I want to go down, which I want in this case, I press Control down. Okay, so what I just did is I took the D from up here and I brought it down. So it's still the same chord. It's still G, B, D. That's the notes in a G major chord. But now at least it's not too much of a jump. I think for this, I'll go one step further. What if I take this note and I'll bring this down an octave? So Control down arrow. So now if we analyze this movement, well, going from our C major chord, well, we have a unison or like the same note. Okay. Our middle note is only one step down. Okay, that's not a big move at all. And then our bottom note is only one step down again. So now you can see there's barely any movement at all. We actually get to keep one note as the same. Okay, so now it's not such a big of a jump. Well, now we have a crazy jump, so we definitely need to do something with this chord. I always like to grab the top note first, click on it, Control down arrow. Okay, I think I can go one step further. Let's grab the middle note, bring it down. So if we compare, we have very little movement, very little jumps. This note going to this note, they're one step away. This note to this note, one note away. This note to this note, one note away. Okay, so inversions just help you shorten the distances between chords. It's still the same notes. You just want to not have such big leaps, especially not in chords, and it's much easier to play. Okay, this one we don't have to do too much, probably just the top note. I'll bring it down by clicking on it, press Control, down arrow. And as you can see, well, this one is super nice because this note is the same as this note. This note to this note, the middle one in the chord is only one note away, and then this note and this note are the same. So think how easier going from this chord to this chord is playing, because you only have to change one note. You just get to repeat the same notes. It's completely different chords, right? We're going from an A minor to an F major, completely different, but the notes, a lot of the times, they share the same notes. Let's hear it. Okay, you see, so your ear can tell they're completely different chords, completely different feeling. We've heard this chord progression a million times, but it just sounds a little bit smoother. For piano, it's way easier to play. If you're a guitar player, all your first position chords, they're all inversions. Somebody figured out, okay, all you have to do is put your fingers in these positions. If you realize or not, they're all in inversions. So this is just how to take your chords that are a little bit too far away, grab some of the notes, change the octave either up or down, and you can see how much closer they are together and how smoother it sounds from transitioning from chord to chord. Hear it again. Okay, bass clef, you don't really have to worry about it too much. At the beginning of your compositions, I always like to have the root note in the bass clef, so you don't want to really mess around with the bass clef too much yet. But chords, you are free to change the position of them as much as you want. As long as it's the same three notes that you started with, it will sound good. So that is how you do inversions of your triads.